Hello, friends. This is David Bedrick, and here to do an episode of UnShamed TV live. This is where I do my best to model unshaming methods, attitudes, and paradigms. Why do I say paradigms? Because unshaming is a different paradigm. It's not a fix. I was going to use the word heal, but of course it's a healing paradigm. But it's not a healing in the sense that we usually think of healing. Healing means something goes away. Healing means something's relieved. Healing means that we once had a symptom, right? And now the symptom is gone, and now I'm healed. And that's so embedded in our consciousness. That's why I call it a paradigm. I'm sick. I have a headache. I'm healed. The headache went away. I'm sick. I have COVID. I'm healed. The symptoms of COVID are gone. I'm sick. I'm depressed. I'm healed. My depression is gone. I have energy again. So that's a common, more than common, that's an embedded paradigm, an allopathic paradigm. But in unshaming, we believe that we are like nature, just like the bears and the bats, and the way they shit leads to certain trees, and the way the worms and the bees and the flowers, excuse me, or everything are woven together. We also are part of that, and our nature, the way we are, is also woven into that. That means that we don't get rid of a part of nature, right? We don't say, oh, the problem is those trees, let's get rid of those trees. The problem is the bees, let's get rid of those bees. If we're in alignment with nature's deep intelligence, we think that there's a blending and that everything is meant to do its thing, its job, express its beauty and its intelligence. And when we unshame, we take the viewpoint that what is presenting as a difficulty is a part of nature, has intelligence in it that needs to be, wants to be unfolded. Like a flower is enfolded, it wants to unfold and become itself. I often start, maybe I've always start, the UnShamed TV with the words of the poet Galway Cannell, who says, the bud, the thing at the root, the seed of the flower, the seed of the leaf, the bud stands for all things. Everything can be looked at as a bud, he says. That's his poetic expression of unshaming. Look at everything as a bud. And then he says, but what happens if something doesn't flower? It's so hurt, so out of alignment, so traumatized, so abused, so marginalized. What happens if it doesn't flower? He says, sometimes you have to reteach a thing its loveliness. You have to put your hand on the brow of the flower and tell it in touch and words. It's lovely. So sometimes something has been hurt, maligned, looked at negatively, shamed so deeply, it doesn't flower readily. And then something from the outside has to touch it in touch and words and say, it's lovely, it can blossom. So I'm going to let in, I hope I'm going to do this right. I'm in a different place, so I'm trying to set this up. I'm looking for Catherine. There she is. I think I've got it right. And then hopefully you'll show up and we'll chat and see what we can make of what you bring forward. Catherine, you should have been invited at this point. Are you there, Catherine? Not seeing you yet. Take another moment and see what is happening. Is there a reason? Are you here? I think you're here because I think I saw you. Something's happening now. Okay.
and I'm accepting. It looks like we're on the right track. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here and creating a space with us. Yeah, I see you're there. Okay, I wrote accept, and why is it not? It says you're unable to join, and I don't know why, Catherine. I'm going to accept you again. And why would you move my thing?
Oh,
We're here. Yay. Catherine, I know you
hey, good to
a
see
little bit.
you. You do. We've
Yeah.
met before.
This
Online,
is the
but
first
only on.
time that somebody has shown up that I kind of know. Usually it's a kind of don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
That's
That's
good.
good, exciting.
How's it going? How have you been? Just saying
All
hello
good.
and then we'll jump in.
Yeah. How is it? It's good. It's good. I don't know. You know what? It's up and down. There's like sick
Oh,
people. I've had a few deaths
oh,
in the past year. Um, it's all okay. Nothing. Anyway, yeah,
oh.
it's up and
I, I
down,
was just gonna I was just gonna say
but
hello,
it's
but
all
then
right.
I had to write down the word deaths because it hit me enough for me to make sure I noticed that, and maybe that won't even be
Yeah,
important. Are you in?
yeah. How are
I've been
you?
stressed lately. I'm moving and changing my lifestyle, and it's bringing up a lot of stuff for me. And me and my dead father have been fighting it out. And this morning, I suggested that we try to get along a little bit better. So, yeah. I was hoping death would
Mm.
chill him out a little bit more. It did at moments.
It doesn't. I have
Speaking
not
of
had
death, yeah.
something like that. Yeah, not with a
Tell me
father.
what's on your mind and heart.
Even
And by the
families.
way, you probably know, and people will know, if I'm looking like this, that's because I'm making notes. I'm a big note taker because I always want to remember exactly what people say, and that's really important to me. Yeah. What's on your mind and heart? What are we gonna in for?
What are we? And so I'm now I'm in my 50s. I'm in 55. And one of the things I have been working on with myself is I just want to make peace and with all of the different parts of myself,
Yeah.
even the parts
Yeah.
I don't really like. I'm gonna cry.
Oh,
I don't want to cry.
what don't you like?
But anyway, uh, um, I don't like, oh, there's
Me too.
lots. I mean, I
You
procrastinate
do?
about important things. Um, and then I have, like, there's a part of me, I'm very active, energetic person. And there's a part of me that is lazy and just
Ooh,
wants to
that's
like
exciting.
lie around. That, yeah, and I find that hard.
Yes,
That's like a constant
yes, I
conflict
hear
that I've
that
had.
you, like some people, would understand whatever that wanting to lay around experiences, would understand it as lazy, which is kind of a negative, or procrastinating, which is kind of a
Totally.
diagnosis. And I always think, just for the people here, when somebody says I'm lazy or I procrastinate, I always think, and you know this, Catherine, because you've studied similar things that I have. Oh, they're having an experience that's being labeled, and it's probably not well known yet. That's how I always think, right? Maybe there's a bud in there. It doesn't mean you shouldn't get more done and things like that. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's so nice to hear that because I know that's because there's a part of me, I just like, it's a critic jumps in and says, you're lazy,
Yeah.
you're procrastinating. And I'm just aware that I have only so much time
Oh,
left.
right. You're going to die
And
at some
like I
point.
care, And that just doesn't feel like a long time.
You skipped out a little bit there. Say that again. I didn't want to miss something. Yeah.
I probably, like, I only probably have 30 years,
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
40
less.
years left. And that's maybe, I
Yeah, maybe a
mean,
lot less.
maybe a
It could
lot less. I
be
don't know.
a week or something. Who knows? Yeah. No, I'm not trying to mess with you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No.
I'm 67. I think a lot more about dying in the last few years, and because my body has started doing things that are different. You know, losing my hair, getting more wrinkled, prostate's getting bigger. Men are not supposed to talk about that in public. You know, that urine flow is not quite the same. Whatever. I don't. My sleep was anyway. A lot things are happening that more quickly that are like, oh right, those are not just little things. Those are called aging, David. Oh right, thank you. I didn't get that. You know. Yeah, aging is a fascinating,
Yeah.
deep thing, and there's so much ageism, meaning viewpoints that think aging is losing your youth, and youth is good. Youth is good, and aging is not good,
Yeah.
and wouldn't it be good? And yeah, but you're talking about not having so long. Mhm. You're talking about laziness and procrastinating. You're talking about deaths. You're talking about age and not having so long, and decisions. I'm just thinking out loud. I will go wherever we go. Hmm. Yeah.
I really don't like the part of
Yeah,
myself that
that's an
is
important thing.
lazy sometimes. So I would do, because I would like to, I would like that and
Okay.
appreciate
Okay. Well, yes, I don't know.
possible.
It could be. It's possible. We don't know what your system is going to allow about that. Hmm. But before we go into a deeper approach, how would you think about laziness in not as a pejorative, negative thing? We're just thinking together, and then we'll ask your body to help us and your experience. Hmm. Let's
Sometimes they time, and there are a lot of things in life we feel like I think there are a lot of things in life we can't make happen. We just need to let things flow,
That's
and
deep.
then they will happen.
That's very deep. Hmm.
And I think that,
That's very deep, and I'm not just trying to be nice about it when I say that. It's very deep because it goes along with aging. Because one of the things that happens with aging for most people, if they follow aging, if they're not just fighting aging, is I can't only fight everything. And the other thing is I can't only bully myself the way I used to, right? When I was younger, I would I'll push through anything, and that's good. I'm not saying that's a negative of bullying, like I'm abusing myself, although I've done that. It's not just a negative. It's good to be able to climb the mountain and your feet hurt and your legs hurt and your knees can't do it and you get to the top anyway. Or you finish a degree, or I finish a book even though I'm not sleeping. And it's good to have that kind of capacity for some of us to push through. But over time, the system as it ages tends to feel bullied by that same thing that was an empowerment when one was young. I could drink 7 beers. Now I drink one, and I'm like, what? I can push through things. It's a good strength, and people have that. I don't want to say when people older they lose that, but it's very common for people who work on aging to start to have a sense that old attitudes that were really useful and strong and empowerment and beautiful and got praise for now start to feel like I'm bullying myself. I'm making myself do something, and I'm not letting things happen. I'm not. You said, I can't make it happen. I'm not so into making it happen. Something else has to make it happen, not just my will and strength. And I'm just thinking out loud with you about what you're saying about the flow. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that's just an aging thing, though. Like, to me, Like, I think it's always
Yeah.
true. It's just we ignore it.
Yeah.
And things we just don't have control over. I think we like to have this idea that we have control over our thoughts, ourselves, and our life,
Yeah.
other people, and we really
Isn't that
we
funny? I'm so
don't.
glad you used the word control, because again, from a younger person's perspective, people don't interpret that desire for control. They desire it as a will to succeed and an effort and a empowerment and a fierceness, and it looks
Yeah.
that way. And it's so I also think, but then there's a control, and I want to make things the way I want them, because then I'm whatever. For me, secure. For you, whatever that is. People to like me, or whatever the things are that we want to make happen. Those are really big forces. So you're implying that a part of you would want to live in a different paradigm, not one of control and making things happen. We're just thinking together so far about a different view.
Yeah.
If you were to unshame what's called lazy, that means she's not lazy. Means somebody says you're not working hard enough or doing enough. Procrastinating, that means you're not moving forward and you're hanging out too long. One way of framing that, if you were to unshame it, is actually it's not laziness and procrastinating. I'm just leaving a more controlled, effortful, making things happen model of life and aging. There's death around, there's 55 years old around, and I'm starting to think inside of me there's a different way of doing it. I'm not just at home with that yet.
There's something kind of exciting to me too, to think about letting things happen and discovering there, and just kind of going with the flow, or seeing what the flow is, and do I want to jump into this river?
That's beautiful.
Or not?
It's one of my favorite poems. Usually I jump into things quicker, but I don't know. Maybe it's my day. Maybe I'm not having as much control as I usually do. But there's a poem that by a man named William Stafford. He died some 20 something years ago, I think, 23. And he wrote a poem, and I remember the last line, and I won't remember the beginning of it, but the flavor of the beginning is, he says, ask me questions about my life. Ask me about whether I did the right thing, whether I lived the right way, whether my relationships were the right relationships. He says, ask me all those things, he says. And then he says, and then when you ask me those, you and I will sit by the river together, and we'll get quiet, and then I'll give my answer. And he says, and my answer is what the river says. That's what I say. That's his answer to all the questions. Isn't that great? What the river says, that's my answer.
Yeah.
How did you live? Did you live right? What the river says, that's what I say. That's my answer.
I feel like that's also, not just me, but other people too. But I feel like those are the things I want to listen to in me.
Very deep. It's a very deep thing we're talking about. Yeah, following a river, and not my ideas and my will, or people would call that ego, or people would call that whatever. I don't like the word ego because it's kind of a put down, but whatever these things are. Let's go into that a little bit. We could start, Catherine, by you going into the body of laziness, or you're already talking about flow and you're making hand motions and your body moves a little bit. We could just go into that flow and you're smiling, and maybe that's the better, it's going to get us to the same place. Yeah. Because we all know already that laziness and procrastination are words that a critic uses who doesn't understand flow. That's already clear to me. So we should know that, because you're intelligent enough and you're aware enough to be able to say the things you're saying. Yeah, you're already moving.
There's part of me that fight against that a bit, because I also, there are things I need to do that I don't do, and I need to do them. That's my critic coming up, but I think that's true.
Let's not only call it a critic. Let's call it a really important viewpoint that also belongs. Let's not get rid of it. Somebody says there are things I really need to do, and if you call it a critic, it might, sometimes it's really right to call something a critic, but sometimes it's not, it's rare, because most times it's very useful, but sometimes it makes shame, meaning it says, that's a bad thing. I'm just being criticized, so I should get over that. But let's leave it as just a paradigm that has truth to it, that makes sense to it, that got you certain places in your life, and you still may need some of. So we don't have to go to war. Not go to war with it. Let's not beat the critic in this case. If it was saying you're a dumb, stupid person, shut up, you're a woman or something, then I think you should like kick its ass, you know? You know?
Yeah.
But that's not what's going on.
The flow. So I want to experience that.
You're already moving quite a bit, it looks like. So I just take your time and believe that your body's movement is already doing what it's doing. Stay with it, Catherine. Sometimes I have to help people go into your body and feel it, but your body's already showing it, so we can skip the somatic experience and stay with the movement experience. That's what we're doing, everybody, because our body is so present in its language. Yeah. And you're moving, I see that. And just...
It's very...
Yeah. Keep enjoying it, and don't even try to understand it. Just enjoy it, because you said you want to like yourself and enjoy yourself. So let's start by just liking the motion. And who cares what it means and what its interpretation is. Just liking being this way. Yeah, keep going. Those hands are gorgeous. Yeah, you got it. You got it. And just let go and forget about everything other than I'm a woman enjoying her flow. I'm a woman enjoying her flow. I'm like a river. Keep going and just take your time. It's very important for you especially, to enjoy it, because you're not liking yourself. And it's important then to start liking it. You want to make liking oneself, not just loving oneself, liking oneself as a certain flavor to it. That's very important for people. I like this about me. Yeah.
I realize I just want to move really quickly, but the part that I find difficult is going slow.
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Go ahead. Go and feel the quickness, but do it in slow motion, so you're not losing the quality of that you want in that. It's almost like you're saying, it could go quicker, David, but I'm going to do it in slow motion, so you can feel it and see it. There it goes up, and it goes. Yeah, and stay with those sounds also, because you're naturally making sound. See if you can drop your normal mind. Dear normal mind, I promise we'll come back to you and answer all your questions, even if we have to just say it's the river is the answer. And just enjoy what feels so good about it. What do you like about this way of moving?
It's it something touches me really deeply, and it's like I'm feeling changes, little changes in the air that make my hands want to move, or like it's slightly cooler over on one side
so
than the other. But there's me. I don't know why. It's very subtle. It's like very subtle thing.
The subtlety is important. You notice the coolness of the air in one spot. and the different temperatures. Go ahead and keep going and stay with that awareness that's subtle. Now it's cooler and whatever else. Now keep moving and allow yourself to be exquisitely sensitive to all the little things you feel and notice.
I think that's too much.
What's too much? I missed that.
Feeling everything.
Feeling everything.
Feeling everything is too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It is. Go back to it anyway for another moment and exquisitely sensitive even to the coolness of the air. Don't worry about it, how much it is. Just feel it. Ooh, the air is cooler. Oh, it's a little bit different over here. And the moving and the flow and the subtlety. Person whose experience has a lot of subtlety. It's not big things that happen. This is this decision, this is not. It's subtle things you may not even notice in a normal life. But now you are. This one notices all kinds of subtle things. Tell me about the subtle things in life that get passed over sometimes, if you can.
Oh. I mean, it's not everything. There are so many little things that we do. I feel like I can talk about it, but I don't want to just talk about it. I don't want to intellectualize about it or talk about ideas.
What gets passed over in your life that's maybe subtler? Just a few things, just to ground that. The life of making things happen is so good. I'm into it. I'm working on a new book. I want to make it happen. But then there are other subtler experiences relative to that. What gets missed for you?
I think I miss them. It's like there are so many little things I need every day.
What do you need every day?
To make me happy.
To make you happy?
Oh, I need like a spiritual connection, or like not even that to start, but I need that. I need like a connection to a deeper part of myself and to other people. I need movement. I need expression. I need a lot of connection with other people. I really like that in the morning.
You need deeper connection, spirit, and with people and with yourself. Oh, I see.
Yeah. And ideas.
And ideas? Is that what you said? I love ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're hungry for a deeper connection. The flow of life is really important. And then you're taking us one step deeper, actually, than the flow. There's a getting things done, and then there's a flow. Those are different. But then that flow reminds you, hooks you up with your need for connection, to spirit, to movement, to body, to people. Connection is very important. Yeah.
I haven't gotten enough of that.
Connection is so important to you. I'm just saying that because you're telling me that I'm getting it myself.
Oh, it's really, yeah. I work with couples in relationship, and I think we underestimate how the little things, little signals we pick up unconsciously and we give them unconsciously, and it really affects
Yes.
us. Like ourselves, how we feel about ourselves.
Profound what you're saying. Just to frame, you probably already get it, but I'm frame for you and for people who would watch. We're starting off with an idea like laziness, procrastination is one opinion about somebody who doesn't follow an old way, get things done and make things happen. And then we're saying, who is this person? If we unshame, who's the one who doesn't make things happen? She's not only a procrastinator and lazy, who is she really? And then you say she's a one who moves by flow. But then we're taking that one step deeper. She's a person who appreciates the details, the subtleties of connection. That's not just about slowing down, Catherine. Slowing down just helps you do that. It's not, for you, it's not about slowness, ultimately. It's about connection. You're looking for a deeper connection with the movement, with yourself, with spirit, with other people, with ideas. And if your system is not getting that deeper connection, it's not going to be able to be bullied. Move anyway. And something inside you is not so movable without that connection.
No, it was when you said that, something inside me is not movable, and I felt like I wanted to cry. It was like, it's something that's so strong. It says, no, I can't move, and I won't. I'm
You
ready.
need connection, and then if without that, you're not going to move. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. What is it? I think it's just an appreciation of the like of the essence of connections and the essence of people, like what of spirituality, like what we call spirituality, or people who have a religious community. Like I've always been a little jealous of people who were part of a religion. I'm not attracted to religion at all. But like if you're part of an organized religion, you have a direction for all of this to go. You have a community, you know? You go to, you convene in whatever building once a week or whenever.
We need to go to church more often. And I mean that in the big sense. I'm a Jew. I go to church. But church is, for me, is by the ocean. Or somebody else, it's a literal building and a pastor or something. But we need church, not just for the spiritual connection, but for the community connection.
And to the world, to the universe. Yeah.
We can't work it out. We can't work out the big problems. You know that without that. We can work out the small problems, but the big problems, we need other things. Spirit, connection, however we define that, something that connects us together. So it's not just me against you only. Sometimes we can be against each other, but if it's only that and we can't find our connection, it's painful. It doesn't sustain. Yeah. Nothing sustains without that.
And how will we find inner passion and drive to solve these problems and to work together if we don't have that connection to something bigger to us?
It's gorgeous. How could you move? How can you go forward, try to make something happen if the connection's not there? Then the only thing you need to do is, this other part of you, the only thing she wants to do is then find the connection again. Well, wait a second. Nothing really makes total sense without this. So that's the purpose of the whole thing. The passion and everything comes from there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I need to get myself to my church. I think I need to go somewhere really wild.
Really?
And really remote.
Where would you go?
Yeah. Probably go somewhere out west or up north or both. Like northern Ontario, or probably out west. Up in the north, BC's gets pretty remote. It's just amazing in mountains. It's made the journey to go somewhere really wild where it takes you like 2 days or 3 days or whatever is incredible. And I just love the feeling of being small, being so small in a universe where, like, you know, a couple humans, a few humans don't really matter too much.
Except for the connection, though. The connection is important. Mm-hmm. The essence of connection, you said. Spirit, but then also. Mm-hmm.
But also the people. I think people is good. It's way more fun. That's something I do with other people.
Yeah. Are you lonely?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm not lonely. I'm not lonely. No. I'm definitely
You're getting that deep connection with people, that deeper spirit connection with folks. That's good. Yeah. It's just with yourself and spirit. You think it's that connection is not happening?
I think so. I think that's it. I think it's the not connecting with this more spiritual part of myself. I think it's also connecting with the meaning of life and what I most want out of life. And not in a big sense, just in a sense of enjoying.
What do you want? What do you most want? I mean, I'm thinking you're saying you most want, because you said what makes me happy, and you talked about all those connection pieces. Is that it? What's the meaning of life? Yeah.
What is the meaning of life? I think it's different for different people. For me, I feel like I get the meaning. I feel like my life has meaning through things that I do, and mostly through helping people grow. That's what that's sort of shy to say it, but that it just makes me so happy.
What's your sense of being connected to, I'm just using your word, spirit, movement, ideas now as you sit here together? Where's the flow? Where's the spirit essence connection with spirit, with people, with me, with movement?
Where is the essence?
Is it living in you now? Is it here?
Could you say it a bit more? I heard you. I understand all the words, but there's something about it that jumbles up my mind.
Jumbles up your mind. I like that. Yeah. That sense you were talking about before. You were making these motions, and you said, "What makes me happy is the connection with the spiritual connection, the connection with people, the connection with movement, with connection with ideas." And I'm asking, are you still sensing that?
It's like a very still, it's like a still, I do.
Stay with the stillness. Stay with that stillness. I hear.
Right now, it feels, there's a sadness with it too, because it reminds me of my family, and families have their limitations. Details, but I didn't come from a very connected family. On my mom's side, they are much more, but not on my dad's side. And people dying, which reminded me of that. And I feel sad about that. I feel like I missed out, and they missed out. Yeah.
Don't miss out, Catherine. Yeah. What's going to be most useful for you? I'm just watching the feeling the sense of connection with that and the subtlety of it. It can get lost in certain ideas in talking. It can be connected with it. What's on your heart and mind? I'm just hanging out with you. Mm-hmm. What do you most want in this moment? Yeah.
Oh, in this moment.
Yeah, this moment together. We
Feel settled.
to feel
That's
settled.
what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It feels that feeling of, I think it's just a feeling of grief that's come up. I think it's grief that's come up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a part of me that's okay with sitting with it, and another part of me that just doesn't like it.
Let's feel the subtlety of grief. Pay attention to all its nuance. Mm-hmm. I can help you with that if that's something, if you need that. Mm-hmm.
It has a heaviness to it. And then there's something in me that feels very heavy, but then there's also a lightness, like it feels a little bit like the river, just sensing what's there.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the grief, part of my grief is accepting that what is. People are who they, and I might have they just are who they are. And I might want them different. I'm going to be different.
Some people aren't different. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a part of me, I don't know, that really appreciates it, because I look back at all my, I really love all the family I've had.
There's a heaviness to the grief, and then there's a lightness. Go back to that grief feeling and see if you can feel it a bit in the body.
I do, like the heaviness is in my torso.
Go ahead and give way to that heaviness in your body. Just go ahead, disappear. Disappearing is good. Go ahead, give way to the heaviness, and as you do that, pay attention to all the subtleties of that heaviness. The head, the hands, the knees, the shoulders, the eyes, the jaw. The little nuances are so important. And flow with that heaviness. And just believe in it.
You know, it actually feels amazing. This, like, I just feel heavy and still. I'm hanging.
You're just there.
And I'm just there.
Stay there for another moment or two. You don't have to come out. This is the way for us to connect. You be in you and I'll be in me, and that will be a deep connection. I mean that. It's the best way to connect. Stay inside yourself. Connecting to your essence, your movement. And I'll connect to mine, and then we relate. That builds a very deep connection to do that. Yeah. And see if there's a song in your heart that goes along with your still grief state. No, I'll try to sing it with you. Teach me.
I don't. There isn't a song. It's. I don't make noise. Things around have noise, but
You're just still.
I'm just still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. just still. Mm-hmm. Me too. I'm just still too. No, I was
Do you
saying
have
I'm
a
still
song?
too. I always have songs. I could probably pick one.
I know.
Let's
I'm
see.
wondering if you have a song.
What
Do
song?
you
Let
have a
me see
song?
if I have a song. Yes. Um, it goes, I think it's from an old Beatles album. It says, "Now it's time to say good night. Good night. Sleep tight." That's how it goes. Now the sun has
I don't know
lost
that.
its light.
Oh.
Oh, I need sleep so much. I don't sleep enough. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's so hard.
Yeah.
I feel for you.
What are you
Miserable
gonna
when I
do?
can't
What are
sleep.
you gonna do with this procrastination and lazy accusation? I have ideas, but what do you? When you're in a,
What am I
let's,
gonna
if
do
you
with
can
it?
stay in your deeper place, your grief place, your 55-year-old gonna die one day place, your flow and spiritual connection that makes you happy place. Hmm. From there, what do I do with with the sense that I'm not doing enough, that I should be working harder, trying harder, making more decisions? Mhm. What should I do with that? It seems like you flow in a different way, and other things are important to you, and happiness means connection and things like that. Hmm.
Um, oh, I'm not sure what to do with that place. In this place, I don't feel like I have a relationship with this part. I recognize it's all important. We have to
Yes,
find
we
a way
do.
to live together.
Hmm. We don't have much connection.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I understand that. There's an idea that it would be better to have more connection. That's possible, but it's also possible that you and I will live one a piece at a time. I'll do my unlazy time, and you're going to do. We might flip from thing to thing.
Yeah. I don't know how else to do it. It's
It's
hard to be
hard to be both.
both
We need more of you.
at the over time. Throughout a day, it's possible, but at the same time,
What
I
happens
to
as
be
you,
both.
if you imagine getting older? Now you're 65, now you're 70, now you're 80. Then what happens? Do these things relate more? What happens to these things?
Oh, I just notice them, and they come up, and I notice it. Keep going. I move on. I think really, it just
Yeah,
doesn't bother me so much.
it doesn't bother you so much.
Yeah, maybe I could say, oh man, there's that part of me that's trying to keep me on track. But man, there's another part that just
Hmm.
doesn't want to.
And let's say,
Who's
you
gonna win
were
today?
like one day away from dying. This is your last
Mm,
moments. Take your time with that. Let's say this is your last
yeah.
moments, and I'm a dear, dear friend that we have a really good connection. And this is your last moments, and I say, tell me more about life and the purpose. A part of me always felt like I should make more things happen.
Oh, well, go do it then.
If it comes up, go do it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then some.
There's no big secret to life. It's not like we have a grand purpose. I don't think. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe some people do, but I think for most of us, we can change, we can impact ourselves to some degree, and maybe a few people around us, and we get to experience all of it.
Don't
and that's the
worry
gift.
about it too much. If it comes up, do one thing. And what happens? What should I do when doing more is not coming up, but I think it should come up?
What was that? Doing,
What
I
happens
just didn't
when the
hear it.
energy is
My
not
brain
coming
didn't hear
up,
half of
but
it.
I think it should come up? I think I should be doing more, but it's not what's really happening inside of me. Then what do I do?
What do? You think you should do more? You can thank that part of yourself that wants you to do more. You can love that.
You're working on. You're working. I'm sorry,
Them both.
Catherine. You're working.
I feel like I just.
Yeah, you're working
Both.
on. You're working
They
on
both have-
something that looks like detachment. It's a subtle. The reason why we're wandering around and not just going into one thing and following it. I usually would do that on most of these. Is you're working on something subtle. You see. We could go into the lazy, you could stay with the flow, and this is the answer, and that would look really good. It's not going to be sufficient for you because you're working on a detachment. Detachment means it's okay. Now it's this way. I still worry about the procrastination, but I worry less about it. You're working on dying, you see, in a deep way. You're working on a dying process where you started off as the first thing I wrote down, deaths. You're working on a dying process. I don't mean literally, physically dying. I mean, moving more towards death than towards the beginning of life. And one of the things that happens in your bringing forward is a kind of detachment. I don't take it as seriously anymore. What do you do about the procrastination and laziness? You don't take it as seriously as you once did. It gets easier. Yeah, that comes up. If you want to push, go ahead and push. If you want to work hard, work hard. If you don't want to, get along with it. That's a different kind of wisdom than do this, do that. Don't listen to the critic about those things. You're working on a detached state. It's a spiritual connection that you're finding. It's a connection thing that gives you that intelligence. Yeah, I'm this way, then I'm this way. What do you do when I work really hard? Go ahead, work really hard. What happens if I work too hard? Work too hard. What happens if I work too hard, too hard? Well, you'll probably fall asleep and then I'll criticize myself for being lazy. Yeah, that happens. I just want to mirror back. It's a subtle thing, Catherine. I really mean that. Some things have a more obvious answer. Be more this way than this way. But you don't actually have in process work what we call an edge. You have them, but you're not working on an edge to a different identity. You're working on the whole thing loosening up. And that's it's like the whole system is being massaged or being dissolving slowly. It's a dying thing that's happening. Yeah.
That's so true. I feel that so much. That is it. I just feel like I've spent so long. What is the point in fighting any part of myself? I mean, sometimes, sure, but I want to accept all of it.
It's a dissolving of that. There's nothing you can really do about it.
I change them now? Maybe. But it's so hard to change yourself.
It's impossible. I know. Don't listen to that, everybody. Some of you should try. But in some way, it's impossible.
Yeah. I mean, it is and it isn't. It's both.
I've worked on things. I was just working on stuff about my dead dad that today, 20 years ago, died. And I've worked on issues with him for over 30 years with really good therapists. You know what? Sometimes it's just like it always was, just as difficult. Sometimes it's less difficult. And the only difference is I know that.
Comes back.
It comes in and goes. Sometimes I make a big decision in a moment and there we are. How did I get back here again? I'm 67. How come I'm back in my parents' house with the same flowers? Life looks like that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're never truly, completely like healed. I mean, yes, in some ways I am. I had I had a lot of abuse in my childhood, and throughout my life, there have been a lot of some wonderful things and terrible things. And it's like I've healed, I've learned, I've grown, I continue to, but also some things don't change, and I just
that's
want
the
to accept
change.
that.
That's the change that death brings.
Yeah.
It brings the sense that it doesn't matter very much. You know?
No, it is
It's a
very
spiritual
spiritual
process you're
thing.
working
It
on. That's why I
doesn't.
said it's not an edge. Learn to be more this way, learn to be more that way, react to your critic this way. You're really more of a flow person than a get things done person. That's kind of true, but that's not the essence of what you're working on. That's true. You're learning to be more in flow. That's
No.
true. You need more support for that. A little bit less of the get things done. But how do you get there? And your system says you don't get there by choosing one more than the other. You get there by loosening up, dissolving the whole system. And then you say, I'm working way too hard. And I say, yeah, keep going until you drop. But I'm really tired and I want to stop. Stop. But then I can't and I think I'm lazy. Start going again. That's the kind of dissolving state. Something else is in control, even of the changing of yourself. I mean that. That's a profound thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it.
A beautiful thing. Good for me today. I needed that today. I really did, because I was struggling with decisions that I'm usually able to make or figure out what's the right direction and then push for it anyway, because I know what's right. And I've been dealing with this book publishing thing, and I've been going back and forth between two publishers. And usually I land on one, I know what's right for me, even if it's hard, but I don't. I keep on going. I'm like, how come this is not resolving like in the ways I usually do? The wind says it's not time yet. The wind says I'll decide when I decide. I'm like, it's the wind. It's not, you know.
That's right.
I already did my part.
You picked the right one. It will be a beautiful journey.
Yeah. I'm glad we get to connect again. I know this has been a different kind of a session that I've done with people. No, it's perfect.
Sorry,
it's perfect. No. It's gotta be the way it is. But I kept noticing, a part of me was like, we should do this, David. We should do this. And I always have good ideas. But something was like, loosen up on the ideas and follow a flow. And I thought, I had a critic. You're not doing enough. You're not focusing enough. You're not making it happen. And I was like, that's what we're talking about. I had making it happen right in front of my page. And I think it's about connecting with something else and connecting with you and death, letting go of some ideas of even what we're supposed to do here. And yeah, we had a good connection for how we were talking about working together and doing things, and it came and then it dissolved, and then I don't know how all that happened, but it did. And yeah. A little more dying in life is kind of good. Living is good, but being a little bit more, being a little bit more dead can also make things sweeter, and life can get more meaningful that way, and answers we look for might be more apparent.
I think the parts of ourselves that are that just don't get as much space and don't get to be expressed because they're not come out as well. I think that's like the dying to me is also just getting to be like completely myself.
That's it.
And be completely, help people be completely them. Enjoy it when they are. The best.
Catherine, we better close up, because I don't know, because the wind says this time.
Yeah.
Good having with you. Thanks for joining the time here and thinking and playing and exploring in public, and it's a real service.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for everything you do too. It's amazing. It's just I'm one of your biggest fans. I am. I really I just love it.
Appreciate it. Important. Lots of love to you. Lots of love to everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.